Thanks to our sponsor, Overtake.com. They have everything for your Subaru, from differential bushings to hood struts to engine dress up. Head on over to their website. Say hi to Art, Justin, and the boys. Website's in the description. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Project Devo. This week we are talking about drifting. I'm going to compare the Japanese or FJ series, Formula Drift Japan, versus Formula Drift United States. I'm going to tell you what I think the difference is and what I see. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm an idiot or not. One of the main things I want to get into is I feel like drifting in Japan has a deep-rooted culture that spans over generations of drivers, where the United States, it's not, I shouldn't say it's in its infancy, but I feel like it's struggling at the moment right now, and they are pushing it to be more flashy, more of like a show than a regulated type of racecraft. And I will get into why I think that, and then we'll go from there. I'll start with Japan. The scoring system in Japan utilizes the three main criteria, which is line, angle, and style. 30% going to line, 30% going to angle, and 40% going to style. Max 100 points. You never ever see a guy hit a perfect thing, because over in Japan, if you are not even a hair in the zone or anywhere near the zone or drop out of the zone at all, they zero you. If your back end of your car gets ahead of the front end of your car, they zero you. Put it this way, I've watched the first couple rounds of FJ Japan this year, and I swear to God, I may have seen like maybe 3 or 4 drivers break the 84 to 85% scoring ratio over there. They don't score you for shit, meaning that they want perfection, and they are going to score you and be very, very stringent on the way they score you. Where I feel like over in the United States, with this new computer system that they're using, they measure how far you are in the zone versus how far you're out of the zone, and the system just scores you on that, which gives the drivers a little bit more leniency of where they can put their cars, which I get it. They want more drivers to qualify, they want more drivers to compete, and they want to make it easier for drivers to get in here and do it, which I'm okay with, because it gives it more of an excitement to get more people to watch it, which I'm completely okay with. And the computer system showing it live feed of how the score is going, I think helps, because when you watch Formula Drift Japan, you'll watch a driver run through their qualifying run, you'll see it and you're like, oh, that looks kind of good. And then they'll score them at like a 63, and you're like, okay, well, I thought that looked awesome. Why they score them at a 63? And you'll be like, and they'll go in, and you might get some commentary out of the English commentator where he's like, hey, he dipped a tire here, he dipped a tire there, he didn't have enough rotation, not enough angle in it. Like, they'll get into some of that stuff, but they're not really showing you every little inch of detail of why he's doing that, and why they're scoring him like that. But they are very, very stringent, like I was telling you. They don't score you for shit, especially if you don't have a high skill level. And I'm not gonna lie, I'll say in my experience with drifting, I'm in my infancy yet. Meaning I've only been watching it for like 2 to 3 years, and I'm still learning some of the rules, some of the different things. The one night for the last FGJ Formula Drift Japan round, I was actually in bed with my wife, and we were watching the qualifying runs. And the driver that I follow, Samit, who's another YouTuber here, my wife was like, oh, that was a good run. And I said, no, they're going to zero him. And she said, why? And I said, because at one point, the back end of his car over-rotated past the front end of his car for a split second. He caught it with the e-brake. You can see him catch it with the e-brake. Like, if you watch enough stuff, and watch enough racing and motorsport, and you know about car control and power sliding / drifting / e-brake control, you can see the way the car reacts before the driver, or as the driver's making that move. You can see the way the car reacts without even being in the cockpit with the driver. You can watch the car's body language or the weight transfer. And you could see his car come in through the course. You're following it from the backside. You can see him come in, start the drift, come into the corner, and you can see a little bit of in the back of the car, and then the car snaps back and takes back off again. And that little blip for a split second, that, you know, like we'll say like the untrained eye, or my wife's like doesn't watch sport a lot, so she's untrained eye looking at it, thought like that was nothing. It was like, oh, I said to her, they're going to zero him because of that blip. And she said, no, they shouldn't do that. And then 5 seconds later, there's a zero comes across because the back end over rotated past the front end for a split second. He caught it. However, they didn't like how much angle was in it. The back end got ahead of him, which they deem as him losing control, which some people can agree to disagree that in certain forms of drifting, whether it be, you know, lower levels of FJ or US, we see that every now and then, and they'll let it go. Japan, not so much. Then he came out later and did a good buy run that looks more conservative, just so he can get some points on the board. And he ended up qualifying because they scored him at like I think a low 70, which, like I said, I don't think anyone that week hit above an 85. So realistically, everybody was really tight in the scoring, and very much competition, and a lot of competition. And where, unlike over in the United States, where you might have 30 drivers registering for a weekend, and 34 drivers, they have like 60, and they're trying to get down to 30. So the chances of you getting in is less than over here. And the other thing I wanted to get into too is like I said, with the U.S., with the scoring system that the U.S. has, where there's the app or the AI that monitors the cars, I do think it gives you a better insight of how they're scoring and what's going on during the event, which I think provides more of a viewer standpoint, like a better viewing platform for the standpoint. As for suspense, not so much. But like I said, when they do get into tandems, it is pretty cool to watch how both the drivers are scoring and all that fun stuff. And the culture, I believe, on both spots is a lot different. Where over in Japan, like I said, it's very strict, take it very serious, take it very, 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 like it's very, very culture bred, meaning like some of these guys have apprentices. They're bringing up younger guys to teach them how to drift and teach them how to take that next level and get them to the next step. And then you have guys over here in the United States where, yes, they might be doing like you have like Vaughn Gittin Jr. doing it. But with that being said, I also feel like it's a little bit showmanship over here versus over there, which I get it. The U.S. people are into the showmanship thing. They're into the entertainment value, and it's a good thing. But like I said, I also feel like the culture over in Japan is growing, where they have like 3 levels of drifting, and they're constantly building that up. Where over here, I feel like it would still in its infancy. It still has very, very much grassroots into it, and to compete at the highest level, I don't feel like I feel like there is somewhat of a path, but I don't feel like it's an affordable path. If you get where I'm if you catch my drift, no pun intended, on that. But I would love to hear what you guys think, whether you think which one you think is better, whether it's Formula Drift Japan versus Formula Drift United States. Definitely put that down in the comments. Like I said, like, follow, subscribe. Stay tuned. Later this week, I'm going to be shooting vlog content this weekend at this upcoming week, one of these upcoming weekends. We have a lot of car shows and stuff going on coming up in the next couple weeks. So I'm going to be putting out more vlog content. We are getting the Overtake USA videos out shortly as well. We're going to do our first install video with them, where it is, if you can't install these certain items on your car, maybe you shouldn't be working on cars yourself. That's going to be the first video. It's going to be some very rudimentary, very easy mods. Nothing crazy, nothing like extravagant, like we're not bolting a turbo kit on the car or anything. This is just going to be from our sponsor, Overtake. We're going to be doing some engine dress up and hood strut install on my 2024 WRX. Nothing, like I said, nothing crazy, nothing insane. And then later, the next install episode, we're going to be putting some powertrain bushing reinforcement in for the driveline and the rear differential. And then we're going to record that and release that to you as well. Like I said, stay tuned for next week. We are going to be releasing another vlog episode. So remember, like, follow, subscribe. and we'll catch you on the next one, guys.